Aloha everybody, Phil Laguerre, Remax Aloha Homes. It's early morning here in Eva Beach. I'm out for a little bit of a walk, getting in a little bit of exercise around my neighborhood. So this is pre-coffee too, so trying to speed up my metabolism just a little bit before I put the caffeine in it. Usually don't get up quite this early, so decided to try to get up a little bit earlier every morning. This week I'm getting up at 5:30, and that's a big difference from 7 or so when I used to get up. I'm slowly walking it back a little bit. Been getting up at 6:30 for about 2 weeks, and was going to start getting up at 6, but decided I'd just take a leap and go to 5:30. Goal is to be getting up sometime right after 5, maybe in the next couple of weeks. Get my body used to getting up that early. The hard part's not really getting up that early. Hard part's going to bed early. I'm always a night owl, and I find it hard to go to bed, before, say, midnight. And so when I was getting up at 6:30, I was saying, okay, I'll go to bed at 11 p.m. And I might get in bed around 11 p.m., but then I'd read for a while, and it'd be like almost midnight before I'd fall asleep, and just try to shock the body a little bit with a little less sleep and see if that would get me to go to sleep a little sooner, and or fall asleep a little sooner. And that seems to work, but it takes a little while. It takes a little dedication. You have to do it. Why am I doing it, you ask? Well, I'm trying to be better every day. I'm in Darren Hardy's insane productivity program, and I do the Darren Daily every morning, and the whole premise is being a little bit better every day, trying to be your best self. And the key to productivity, as probably all of us know, is how we use the time that we have, right, in the most productive manner, in the most efficient manner. And he's got a thing where you book in the day, you book in the first 3-4 hours of the morning, and then the last hour or so in the evening, and you set your schedule, and basically you get up early. And his thing to get up by 5 or 5:30 at the latest. And then if you book in the first few hours of the morning, you do your exercise, you do some reading, self-development reading, you watch the Darren Hardy, right? And then you get into being into your productive, creative self right away, because in the morning hours is when you're the most creative, before you've been distracted by the internet and emails and Facebook and all those kinds of things. And you avoid that. You avoid the social media, reading or watching the news, any of that crap, right? And then you do your one big productive project early in the morning. So say he's kind of big on these jam sessions. They're like 90 minutes. And you get into that, doing that most valuable priority or number one task that requires a lot of creativity. You do that first thing in the morning, and when you knock that out, you knock all that out, say by 9 a.m., then the rest of the day is kind of like your normal day. Then you can, you've got your schedule of things that you do during the day. But if you get knocked off your schedule because somebody walks up to you and says, hey, hair on fire, I need you to look at this, I need you to take care of that, I need you to stop working on your goal and work on somebody else's goal, it's okay, because you've done your number one priority for the day, number one task to satisfy your goals. So that's sort of what I'm doing. And this morning at 7:15, I'll be participating in a short Zoom session with leads of our organization at RE/MAX ALOHA Homes, and we'll be basically giving our principal broker a morning stand-up. This is something that I did in government when I was at SUE, Senior Operations Officer, and we would brief the director and all the senior staff twice a week on all the operations going on around the world, and giving the director the absolute most important information that he needed to know or stay abreast of or updated on for the week. Do that on Monday morning, and then we do it again on Friday morning to brief him up on what's sort of a wrap up of the week, but also a look ahead to the weekend, and if there's anything possibly coming up in the next week that we saw. So that was our morning stand-up, and I talked to Ray about it, our principal broker, and he seemed to like that idea. So now we're doing that on Tuesday mornings at 7:15. Well, I got people leaving for work. See, even in Hawaii, people go to work early. So there are people driving down the road here, probably looking miserable because they got a W-2 they got to go collect on. And here I am. I'm a 1099 guy. I don't really have a job, a 3-letter dirty word. I work for myself as a real estate agent. Of course, I work with RE/MAX ALOHA Homes. That's my home agency that I work with. And we're independent, but we're agents, but we're also interdependent. Means we work as a team, we work and support each other. We all have our individual business that we do, but we also do what we call team deals, and we work together with each other on a lot of the real estate projects. And Ray's goal is for all of us to be successful. He's already very successful, and he's shifting over from being the operator doer, kind of like I was for years and years, and being more of the leader, visionary, mentor to all of us. And very similar to what my career went through in government and in the Marine Corps as well. You reach a certain rank or a certain point in your career, and you're more into helping others, leading, guiding others, than you are in actually doing the work. And you're no longer a technician or as much of an operator as, you leave that for the younger generation. And it was hard for me to accept when I was both a Marine and as a government civilian. It was kind of hard for me to put down the operations piece and hand that off to somebody else. And then, the mentoring part, for me anyway, kind of comes easy, I think. Although I'm still learning it. But putting down the operations was difficult. And in the end, it was kind of my body that was telling me, hey, you're getting too old. You're you're not a spring chicken anymore. I was in my late 40s when I deployed final time, so it was pretty good when I stopped deploying and got into more of a, even more of a leadership and management. I hate that word, but it is what it is. Management and mentoring role for others. So, good morning. So that's what we're doing this morning. Getting a little off track here, but we're doing our morning stand-up. So I'm getting my mind right and preparing what I want to brief the boss on. And I did something else last night before I went to bed. I kind of set my routine for today, at least those first couple hours. I bookended the morning until 9 a.m. I've got stuff I need to do, and I've got it written down so I don't have to get up and think about what I'm supposed to do. And what was it that I was going to do between 6 and 7? And here it's 6:20, so I've got 10 minutes left on my walk. And then I get back into the house and I move on to the next piece, which is going to be reading some of this cool book that I got in the mail from Anna. And I doubt you'll ever see this video, but if you do, even if you don't, I really appreciate you sending me a signed copy, and I appreciate the words that you wrote in it, and I try to live up to those every day, be the exception. But the book is called Beginner with a Black Belt. So it's a good self-development book, how to walk your path in life with an open heart. And she uses her experiences growing up in Serbia during the war and then getting through that and overcoming poverty and becoming very successful in life, and combining that with her experiences as a martial artist. And the interesting line on that is a beginner with a black belt is, when you're training in martial arts, there's some people that all they want to do is get a black belt, and they train for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and they get that black belt and they think they're something, and and they've achieved their life goal, and then they quit. And there's just not maybe as many, but there's a good number of people that see it more as a lifelong journey, and making it to Shodan really is just a stepping stone. And the kanji for Shodan is interesting. It means new, show, dan, path, new way, new opening. It basically means you've, in many of the martial arts, Japanese martial art, I'll speak for my own Bujinkan, it really means you've mastered the basics, or at least most of the basics, and now you're ready to start learning. You're ready for the next step. So you really are kind of a beginner, because you're moving, you're just doing the basic stuff. You're still a beginner. And if you look at it as something that you might do for 30 or 40 years, like I've done for 50 years now, wow, it's amazing. Started at 13, so going on 51 years. And, it really is just a beginning. So you are a beginner and you have a black belt. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was a cool title, cool concept, and I just love her book. And I was fortunate enough to be able to get sent a copy of the draft and she asked me for some mentoring on it, and I provided just very little mentoring, more encouragement, just to go ahead and do it. And I was honored that she asked me to write the foreword. And I'll tell you another cool thing about that, and my connection with Anna is pretty strong, although I've only known her for a couple years now, and I've only met her in person once, and that was when we were in Japan together just a couple years ago, and she took the Godon test, and I was fortunate enough to be back in Japan. This was when I was living here again, or living here in Hawaii, and I was back there visiting again. I think 2018, I left Japan in August, and I went back to Japan a couple more times. Oh, now it's like a rat race out there now. There's like 4 or 5 cars racing through our neighborhood. Come on, people, slow it down. Work will still be there when you get in there. But Anna and I happened to coincide in Japan. Actually, it was last year in June. I was there with my wife Joanne, and she was there on a business trip, and I just tagged along and hung out at the ANA hotel and went to training. And I met up with Anna and some of her friends, and Andy Whaley was there from the UK, many other people. But this was kind of a little group that we sort of hung around with a little bit when I was training. And I got to give her the Godon test. It was a big honor. You'll have to read the book if you want to understand about the Godon test, what that means in our martial art. It's a pretty unique test. I don't know of any other martial art that has a test quite like that. It's also called the Saki test. Sensing intention and then moving out of the way, being able to move out of the way. Not only sense it, feel it, but do something about it. You have to execute. And that's where I met Anna, and luckily gave her that test. And then a year and a half later, she's writing a book and asked me to write the foreword. So I felt honored to do that. Anyway, the book is out. It's called Beginner with a Black Belt, and it's on Amazon. Highly encourage anyone, especially martial artists, people that train in martial arts, you'll resonate with it, I believe, and get a kick out of it. And it's also some pretty eye-opening experiences that Anna's had in her life, challenges that she's been able to overcome, and basically through the compound effect and doing little things every day, having them build up into strong, good habits and compound each other. Another Darren Hardy idea, to where she's able to overcome all of those things. So where am I going with this? Well, I'm out having a walk, and I am doing my own bit of self-development, trying to be better every day. And I just did up this little video. Hopefully it will help some of you. And just getting up a little bit earlier and bookend your morning and make it sacrosanct that you're not going to be distracted by the news, by social media, by other people's monkey that they try to throw on you. And get your most important things done first. And then, the rest of the day, if you happen to have a job, or you have a work schedule that you need to go by, your calendar, It's okay if you get a little distracted because you've already completed your number one goal for the day or number one task. And you've done that before, say 9 a.m. And so my morning looks like 7:15 to 7:30 is our stand-up, 7:30 to 8 a.m. is our morning motivation with Eric, who's our sales boss up in Canada. He always gives us some motivating things to do and video, and then we tell him what our number one thing is we have to do for today, and then he holds us to it. And tomorrow I'll have to report if I accomplish that goal or not. And at 8:30 we have Team B support training. So it's again more training with Eric on how to be better in sales, how to be better, be more productive at what we're doing, how do we develop leads. He may have some leads for us that he's gotten overnight and assign them to us. Talk about our challenges and things. So real estate's not easy right now with COVID. I know you probably all hear that, wow, it's selling like crazy. Yeah, it's a seller's market right now, what we say. It's also a buyer's paradise if you've got plenty of money for cash down. So cash is the name of the game. With a low inventory of homes here in Hawaii anyway, especially single family homes in the $600 to $900 range, it's feeding frenzy because there's so limited number of them. And people are wanting to buy right now because the interest rates are so low. They're below 3%. So people with a lot of cash reserves are coming in on say a $700,000 home, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, maybe let's say 750, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 16, 17, 1,800 square feet, in a nice developed area. And they're asking $750 for it, and they're getting 20, 30 offers for $800, $810, $820, like that. And we know it won't appraise for that high a price. So the buyers are having to give what we call an escalation clause, which means I'm willing to pay the difference between what it appraises for and what I'm offering you. So if it's being offered at $750 and I want that house and I said I'll give you $810 and it appraises for $870, that's $40,000 between $770 and $810, right? That's $40,000, and I'm have to put in the contract. I will make that up out of my own pocket. So when you talk about a down payment, and then you say 20% of $810 is a down payment, and then you're talking about adding another $40,000 out of pocket. So the down payment's out of pocket, and then $40,000's out of pocket to make up on the appraisal gap. You're talking a heck of a lot of money out of pocket just to get into a home. And a lot of people can't afford that, right? Most people can't. Most normal people, right? We have had an influx of buyers from other places coming in and just wanting to buy up property here in Hawaii if they can. And you're kind of seeing panic buyers, people with maybe a lot of money invested in the stock market and are worried that their money's not going to be worth anything because the government keeps printing more and more money. So they want to put it into hard assets like real estate. Real estate has proven over 100 years track record that it's always going to go up. it's a pretty safe investment. And I'm not a financial planner, so I'm not saying that's always the case. I'm just saying that, or that you should invest all your money into real estate because Phil says it's a safe investment. No, I'm saying that track record of real estate has been that it's always goes up. So you got to be smart when you invest in real estate. It's got to be the right kind of property. I always look for property that I can rent out for a few years to weather the storm if the economy is going to go down like we had 2008, 2010. It took about 5 years to get over that downturn in the real estate market. And, we see some indicators that could happen again, with COVID and the nation being at unrest with Black Lives Matters and, the issues going on, the presidency, the election, and people polarized. It just hasn't. COVID alone caused Hawaii to have about a 40% unemployment rate all summer long. And if you think about Hawaii, we are a little island or set of islands, and we live off tourism. Well, if the airplanes aren't flying, the tourists aren't able to get here, and we had those heavy restrictions on any tourists coming to Hawaii. So tourists didn't want to come anyway, but with the downturn in tourists, the airlines stopped flying the planes. So you had very few aircraft flying here, so it was hard to get here. And because nobody was coming here, or there were fewer flights, hotels shut down. So the hotel shut down, so even if you could get over here, where are you going to spend your 14 days of quarantine before you're cleared or allowed to go out? And then for long periods of time, even our beaches were closed. So you could get here, go through quarantine, and you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. The restaurants were closed down. The bars were closed down. The stores were very limited. And you couldn't even go to the beach. For a while, we could go to the beach, get out of the car, run into the ocean, swim around for a while or surf, and then get out and run back to your car and go. You weren't allowed to do much walking around, or you couldn't even sit on the beach, so you had to keep moving. And so that was a kind of a tough time for Hawaii, because it went from March until almost now, right? With about 6 months of that being really restricted. And it impacted not only the tourist industry and everyone related to it, but it impacted jobs as the number one thing. So closing the hotels and limiting the flights and all that meant unemployment for about 40% of our folks here in Hawaii that depended on tourism to survive. So that's impacted the market quite heavily as well. And it's all over the country, not just here. But the whole nation's going through this. So there's a seller's market. If you have a home to sell, right now you're in the driver's seat and you can pretty much command almost what you want for a home. Although I think we're getting towards the end of this. It's going to peak out. And all the buyers that had the extra money to throw into buying a home have bought a home. And I think we'll start seeing a slowdown in that market and less offers way over asking. And maybe for some of the folks that want to buy a home but don't have as much to throw into it in cash, may have a chance to get into a home after the holidays are over. I think that the feeding frenzy is going to slow down, and it might even go in the opposite direction at some point. So if you're looking to buy that dream home, if it's a single family home in that 600 to 900 price range here in Hawaii, and you don't have a lot of extra cash to throw out, might be a good idea to just hold off. Wait until the market adjusts itself, and you have a better chance of getting a home that you want without having to put out as much cash. If you're a seller, if you have a home that you're thinking about selling, if you're thinking about selling it in the next 6 months or so, you might want to hurry that up. I'd suggest you get it on the market right now. If you want to capitalize on this feeding frenzy that's going on, get your house on the market right now, and you can definitely command over asking price. You'll be able to select offers that are going to go above the appraisal price, because there will still be buyers who are willing to commit additional money to cover above what the house appraises for. So I highly encourage you to sell now. If you've got a single family home, maybe not your primary residence, but it's rental property or investment property, or you want to upgrade, right? It's your primary residence and you want to upgrade to something better, right? Had a couple of friends that were going to do that. They were going to sell their home and then buy into a million dollar plus home after selling their home, and they decided against doing that and just refi their existing home and stay in it. They had it all done up perfectly just for them, and so they really love their home. But they were exploring the market to see if they could sell it high and then buy low. Well, they could sell their house really high, probably $75K over what they were going to ask for it. But the million plus market is not, it's not the feeding frenzy that's happening in the lower market, right? They thought they'd be able to get in really, really cheap. Well, it's not quite the feeding frenzy, but it's still a solid market, up to $1.5 million, and there's not many deals going on, so they weren't able to get really the deal that they were interested in that higher value home. So in cases like that, I just tell people to sell now. It may be a pain, but rent for, say, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, even a year. Go rent something for a year, and when that market that you're interested in drops, which we believe they're all going to drop after the new year, sometime probably around Super Bowl time, then that would be the best time to invest, the best time to buy into your dream home, your single family home that you want to upgrade to. Now, if you're an investor and looking at rental property, Hawaii has this thing where they have to give you a permit for short-term rentals, and short-term rentals are 30 days or less. And a year or two ago, the resort industry put a lot of pressure on the Hawaii government to stop the Airbnbs and the mom and pops that were renting out their places, and people in nice condos renting them out to weekend and short-term tourists, right? And the resort properties and hotels said, "Hey, you're really cutting into our business, so could you do something about it?" So they came up with this permit process, which is kind of weird, but it's government. Let's limit the number of permits that will allow people to do short-term rentals, and we're not going to grandfather very many people. They somehow threw a dart on the wall and picked a certain number. And those were the people that applied for those permits, got them, and many, 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 many more did not. So we got a large inventory of Airbnb and condo rental properties that either were legit, have permits, or many of them, majority of them, didn't. And then now you have no tourists. So for 8 months. So what are you going to do, right? A lot of people, let's say you own 5 little condos at Surfside up in Makaha and right on the water. Nice, sweet deal, right? Have a condo on the water. You got it all tricked out, furnished, and maybe even remodeled. And you've been doing a brisk business for years, having people come in for a week or 2 at a time, right there on the water. You know, get out and go surfing and stand up paddleboarding and kayaking and swimming, scuba diving and snorkeling and all that right there in pristine waters up on the northwest coast. And then all of a sudden, for the last 8 months, you got nobody. So depending on your financial situation, can you wait it out? Or, you know, most people have to sell. So that market is a down market right now. It's a perfect time to buy. So if you're looking to invest in rental property or that vacation home you've always wanted, there's some great deals out there right now. So if you're in, East Coast or something, or in the North America, and you're interested in owning your own little private vacation property in Hawaii, now is a great time to buy. You're going to get some sweet deals under $200,000 for a 2-bedroom property. Now, most of those you're not able to rent short term, right? But you can rent longer term, right? You can rent for 30 days. You can hold it and just use it yourself, and for friends and family that want to come out and stay, right? And, they can stay a week or 2 weeks. It doesn't, it's not dependent on that. What you can't do is advertise it for rent. Those types of properties, unless you have the permit. Now, if you have the permit, then you can advertise all over the place and people can roll in and roll out, right? And I can help you if you're interested in doing that. I can help you acquire that property, and also help you if you need somebody to help manage it. We can do that too. So I've been running on and on. I went way over my time, and looking at my watch now, I need to be reading. So I've got 20 minutes of reading, and then clear my mind a little bit, and then get ready for our 7:15 stand-up. So I'm going to sign off. Just leave you with that. Remax Aloha Homes. We buy, we sell, we rent, we manage properties. We do it all. We're full service real estate brokerage. I am a real estate agent with Remax Aloha Homes, and I would love to be your real estate agent in charge. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope some of this rambling resonates with you and helps you in whatever you're doing. Don't forget, bookend your day. Set aside time in the morning and late in the evening, and just before you go to bed, to do those things that you need to do, and then decompress before you go to sleep, and then start your day off the next morning, right? Get up a little bit earlier. That's what all the pros do it. All the self-help, self-development, productivity, achievement training is about that, is just getting up earlier. Kind of simple. It does work, but you got to develop that habit. Like I said, I'm a night owl, so I'm slowly trying to convert that over a little bit. And I'm trying to be better every day. All right, great time to sell a home. It's a good time to buy a home if you have the extra capital to throw down on the appraisal clause. I would suggest waiting a few months to buy into a new home. Let's wait for the market to settle down just a little bit. That's what I would advise, but if you have the cash, then go for it now. And if you're an investor thinking about buying your forever vacation home that you can have and hold and only you and your family and best friends can use, oh gosh, it's a perfect time to buy that type of property. Those are just falling through the basement. They continue to fall, and with the interest rates being below 3%, it almost, they pay you to buy it. So it's a great time to invest. I'm doing it myself. All right, I hope that helped. Mahalo, and you guys have a, what is it, Tuesday? Have a great Tuesday morning. See, the week just goes by. I have no idea. Just loving life here in paradise. Mahalo.